When a crime scene happens in a house, we always ask how did the criminal get in? We look at the broken windows, the forced doors, and the muddy footprints to the door. But the most terrifying part in this story is that no one broke in. He was already there. Imagine eating dinner with your family, laughing, talking about your day, while just 6 inches above your head, there's a stranger lying perfectly still, looking at you through a tiny hole. He knows your name, he knows your schedule, and he's just waiting for the lights to go out. This is not just a movie. This is a perfectly documented nightmare of the Gruber family, the mystery of the village Hinterkaifeck. The year was 1922. The place is a remote farm in Germany. The Gruber family were loners, cold, hardworking, and deeply private. But in March, the father, Andreas, started to notice things that didn't make any sense. First, the maid quit. She ran out of the house screaming, saying the house was haunted, that she heard voices and footsteps in the attic. Andreas laughed. He called her crazy. But then the signs started to appear for him too. One morning, a newspaper from Munich appeared on his house. He didn't subscribe to it. The mailman hadn't arrived. It was sitting there crisp, dry, almost like sending a message. And then the footprints appeared. One day, after a heavy snowstorm, a trail of tracks has led straight to his back door from a dark forest. He followed the prints, expecting to find a man, but the trail of tracks has stopped in his back door, and there were no return footprints. Somebody has walked inside his house, and they never walked out. It was March 31st. A new maid arrives. She is happy for the work that she has to do, but she never knew she only has less than 5 more hours to live. We don't know the reason they went to the attic. One by one, each got lured into the attic, which was filled with darkness. Andreas, his wife, their daughter Victoria, and even their 7-year-old granddaughter went straight into the darkness. And in the darkness, there was a man waiting with a mattock, a heavily sharp pickaxe. With mechanical precision, he struck one blow each. No struggle, no scream. But the horror did not stop in the barn. The killer walked into the house, found the new maid in her bed. Thud. Then he walked to the nursery. 2-year-old Joseph was sleeping in his cot. He didn't even wake up before the end. The whole family was gone, but the killer hasn't finished. This is the part that makes this case famous. The family died on Friday, but the bodies were not found until Tuesday. For 4 full days, the farm looked alive. Neighbors saw smoke rising from the chimney. The 100+ cattle were fed and milked every single day. Someone had cooked meals in the kitchen and eaten it at the table. Someone had even slept in the father's bed. When police finally searched the attic, they found the nest. The killer had moved the hay to create a bed directly over the parents' bedroom. They found 2 small holes bored through the floorboards. The killer had not just broken in that night. He had been living in the attic for weeks. He had watched them live, watched them eat, sleep, and eventually he watched them die. And when the neighbors finally knocked on the door on Tuesday, the killer slipped out the back while they were coming in the front. Who was he? To this day, the case is officially unsolved. Some say it was a neighbor, Lawrence, who was obsessed with the daughter. Others say it was a ghost from the war. In 2007, this is where the case became a really big scene. Modern forensic students used high-tech DNA tools to solve this case. They reached to a conclusion. They found the name. They found the killer. But they refused to release it out of the respect of the killer's living descendants who still live in the same village. So as a result of all this, the authorities has decided to keep the criminal's name a secret. And if you think the police are the only ones keeping secrets, look at what happened to the victim. After the autopsies, the heads of the Gruber family were removed and sent to the clairvoyant in Munich, hoping a psychic could see the killer's face in their final moments. But during the chaos of World War II, those skulls, they just vanished. The bodies were buried headless, and the heads were lost to history. It's as if the universe itself wanted to erase every piece of evidence that could lead to the truth. Some people in the village still won't talk about the farm. They say the ground there is sour. They say that if you stand in that field at night, you can still hear the rhythmic thud of a mattock hitting the hay. They believe that the guest never actually left the village. He just hid in plain sight. So tonight, when you're scrolling through your feed and you feel that cold draft on the back of your neck, don't just check the door. The truth is, the police solved hinterkaifeck, but they didn't give us a closure. They gave us a shadow. The person who did this has a family walking around today, perhaps even scrolling past this very video. The Grubers ignored the footsteps. They ignored the newspaper. They ignored the eyes in the ceiling until the very second the pickaxe fell. Don't make the same mistake, because sometimes the house isn't settling. It's being lived in.